Greetings and salutations. I hope this video finds you well wherever you are in the world. We have a lot of things that are going away, some of them very soon and some of them are already gone. If you are somebody who keeps very close tabs on tech news, you might know about all of this. But a lot of the folks who are subscribed to my channels aren't necessarily geeks. They're just kind of people who use computers to do things. And so therefore, you might not know about this. So that's the whole point of the video. The first one we want to talk about here is Linux Mint 17.3 Rosa. I have gotten, since the first of the year, about at least 3 or 4 comments, people saying that I'm not going to upgrade to anything. I'm going to stay with Linux Mint 17.3 forever. No, you're not, because Linux Mint 17.3 is going to be supported until April of 2019. That's 2 months away, and then sometime in April, it will just stop working. Actually, it won't quit working, but what will happen is that the repositories where you get your software will stop working, and you will no longer get any updates, so you can't install software from the repositories, and you will no longer get updates. Essentially, the system will become mostly useless. And that is because Ubuntu 14.04 is ending its support cycle in April as well. And here's a look at all of the Ubuntu support time periods for the different releases. So if you look here at Ubuntu 14.04, you see that it ends in April. Also, extended support, that is paid support, for Ubuntu 12.04 is ending at the same time as well. So we will be waving bye-bye to 14.04 and 12.04 at the same time. Some customers of Canonical who are willing to pay to get support on their Ubuntu 12.04 installations have been getting extended support. And like I said, your repositories are going to stop working, and this is going to happen, of course, on Linux Mint 17.3 and Ubuntu 14.04. What you're going to do, you're going to have to move on. You're going to have to move on to something that is supported. You can move up to Ubuntu 16.04. That is going to have support until 2021, and that would be anything in the Linux Mint 18 series, so Linux Mint 18 through 18.3. I have a machine right now that is running Linux Mint 18.3. It's a Core Duo laptop. There is a problem with the long-term support kernel in Ubuntu for Ubuntu 18.04. That machine doesn't work well with it at all. But it will work on the 16.04 kernel, which is what Linux Mint 18.3 uses. So therefore, that machine is running 18.3. I would suggest that if you're running really old hardware and you're running Linux Mint 17.3, that you give 18 a shot, one of the 18 series. If you're running Ubuntu, you can try 16.04 or you can try even 18.04. It seems to work quite well on a lot of older hardware, except for certain Dell Core Duo machines have issues. And I won the lottery and I got me one of those. So that is the deal with that. Yes, I do realize that the support cycles in Linux are confusing. I'm sorry about that. It's just the way it is. And before anybody goes in the comments and says, yes, you can do this, there is a way to keep an old Ubuntu installation running, and that is to switch the repositories to the archived repositories. See, they're not gone. They just move them to another location, different server. And the machine will boot up. You can actually install software from those repositories, but you're not getting any updates of any kind. And just this week, we had some major kernel updates come down for Ubuntu 18.04 users that closed a bunch of vulnerabilities in the kernel, and I just posted on the Easy Linux Facebook page that if you are using Linux Mint 18, whatever, or Ubuntu 18.04, I mean 18.0 or 18.1 when I say whatever, that you need to make sure that you have those updates installed. It's very important with Linux to keep up to date. This is what keeps you safe, and this is why you don't need to have any antivirus on your machine, because all these vulnerabilities get closed up over time. So patch your stuff, all right? Now, moving on from Linux and talking about some other things that are ending support, it is important that we talk a little bit about Windows, because Windows 7 is going to be going away, at least for most users, in 2020. That is next year, January the 14th. That support will just end. You will get no more security patches at all. And it's going to put you in a situation where you're going to have to figure out what you're going to do. Now, there is some screwed up, complicated, convoluted thing that some customers who have certain kinds of licenses will be able to get some extended support. I don't know how all that works. I don't keep up with Microsoft. I don't care. But it is important to note that if you are one of these people who are holding out on Windows 7, oh my God, I can't use anything else ever. I will never be able to upgrade to Windows 10. I'm going to have to just stick with this till the end of time. You got about a year, and then it's the same deal. Support ends. Now, of course, with Windows, it's not quite as strict as what happens with Linux, because you can still install software on an out-of-date Windows installation because it doesn't come from a repository. But still, gang, you got to figure out what you're going to do here. And I would recommend that if you are that entrenched into Windows 7, that you need to figure this out now. A lot of folks I am talking to lately are seeing the end of Windows 7 coming, and they're really looking at Linux as an alternative to see whether it's going to work for them. And for those people, I tell them, hey, you need to check out Linux Mint. You need to check out Ubuntu Mate 1804. That's awesome. And you need to check out Elementary OS. Those are the three that people are having the most luck with when they're moving from Windows to Linux. They're the easy-to-use distributions out there that make it super easy for people to get started. Now's the time to do that. And, of course, they also say on this page that Windows 8.1 is going to be losing support. And that's a little bit further down the road. That is January the 10th of 2023. But most people that I know of that use Windows 8, they either wanted to get off of it and roll back to 7, or they just went ahead and went to Windows 10. So I don't know a whole lot of people that are hanging on to Windows 8 and sitting there going, oh my God, I don't want to move. It's usually Windows 7 that people are like that about. And that's the way it is. It's about all, as much as I can comment on that, because I am not a Microsoft Windows user myself. More stuff to talk about that is going away from us, and this one kind of shocked me. I got a message like 2 weeks ago on my little Wii device that says I was no longer going to be able to stream Netflix, and I went, wah! Well, it turns out that Nintendo just wants to kill the old Wii, and they're going to make it go away completely. So as of like yesterday, I think, or 2 days ago, your Netflix won't work, Amazon Prime, some other streaming services aren't going to work as well. It's just poof, it's gone. So those of you like me who had a Wii hooked up to their TV and you were using it as a streaming box, we're kind of screwed at this point. I don't know what to do. My TV setup is a joke anyway, and it's worth telling about because it makes people laugh. I had this lovely Hitachi widescreen, huge HD TV setup, and I had a very nice DVR hooked up to it and all this stuff, and I had a lightning strike, and it went poof. So didn't have any money, and needed a TV, so ended up grabbing this 2004, and I'm not joking, Emerson CRT type 4x3 television and putting it in my living room. That's my TV. We don't watch a lot of TV in this house. Everybody streams stuff onto their devices, right? On their tablet or their phone or their computer. We don't watch a lot of TV. So it's been a running joke. We will occasionally sit down and watch something from Netflix on it, something from Amazon, or we watch some shows that come from the cable company and all that stuff. But really, it's not that much, and it's not talking like hours a day. So now they took my streaming box away. I don't know what I'm going to do, man. I got this email from the folks at Amazon that said that they would cut me a deal on one of those little Fire Sticks, and I could use Alexa for the remote. Well, there's no HDMI anywhere on this system, dude. It's all old stuff. That's not going to work. And as far as Alexa is concerned, nah, I'm not going to be using Alexa for anything. I really have a hard time thinking about putting a box in my house that's on all the time and listening to everything I say that's hooked up to Google. It's not a good idea, folks. No, not going to do that. So I don't know what we're going to do here, man. We're not going to get our Netflix and no more Amazon Prime. Wah. And the Wii, well, the kids don't play it anymore. I've not seen a child play a game on the Wii in 2 years. Like I said, we've been using it as a set top, so I guess it just becomes a museum piece or ends up in the landfill. I don't know what I'm going to do with that thing. So yeah, man. Another thing going away, there's just this long list of stuff that's going away, is Google Plus. Google Plus is going poof as of like in a couple of days now. You will not be able to create a profile or do anything like that with Google Plus. And then in April, it goes away. Now, they announced this decision in December, and I remember hearing that, but it didn't click with me that they were going to make it go away as early as April of 2019. So they went through this long notice here talking about that. It says on April 2nd, your Google Plus account and any Google pages you created will be shut down, and we will begin deleting content from customer Google Plus accounts. Now, I personally don't care. I'm glad to see it go. I never used it anyway. I have a Google Plus account. But Google Plus was kind of a place for a while for people in the Linux community to talk. And so therefore I kind of paid somewhat attention to it. And now it's going away, which is, like I said, it doesn't affect me. I will just remove the shortcut from my browser and go on with life. However, you might want to download your content, so you'll have to figure out how to do that. And they talk about how it's just going to go poof. They also said that it's going to take them a while to delete all of these accounts. So imagine that. I don't know how many millions or maybe even billions of these accounts there are. And the reason why there are so many is because several years ago, if you are a longtime YouTube user, they forced us all to have Google Plus because they got this really bright idea that they would combine the Google Plus and the YouTube comments section. Really stupid. I mean, when I said bright idea, I was being very sarcastic. That sucked, Google. It was just horrible. Screwed up the comments section on Google or on YouTube forever. It's never been the same. It sucks. It's terrible. Ugh. So, if you're a Google Plus user, you're going to have to find an alternative there as well. Wow. Lots of stuff going poof. It's too much for my little brain to handle. I can't deal with this. I'm old. I'm an old dog, and I don't like learning new tricks. But I guess I'm going to have to. So, one more thing to talk about before we wind the video up. That is that your feedback is always welcome, as usual. And I want to talk a little bit about your feedback before I say goodbye. YouTube comments. They have been a problem because YouTube comments attract lots of nastiness. And I made a promise many years ago when I started this channel that I was going to not allow nastiness to be left in those comments. We're not going to have the profanity. We're not going to have the flaming. We're not going to do it. So therefore, a great deal of my time is spent moderating YouTube comments. And I have been, vented some frustration on that in the past and some of the stuff that is said. The comment section on YouTube has just gotten to a point where most of the comments that I do get are on certain videos are like what I call drive-bys by kids. So you have these people that have YouTube accounts, no content whatsoever. They've not even bothered to put up an avatar. They're not engaged in the system at all. They don't even have notifications. So if you try and respond to them, they don't hear what you say, and they just go around putting all kinds of trolling, nasty stuff on people's videos and call you names and stuff like that. And a couple of videos like the top 5 mistakes Linux users make. Those videos are embedded all over the place, which is great, which means they get a lot of views, but it also means that I get a lot of those kind of comments. So what I have done on a couple of videos on the channel, I have disabled the comments because the videos have been up for a very long time. At this point in time, there's not a whole lot of productive things that are going to be coming from the comments section. And that is just another tool in my belt that I'm using to manage the cesspool, which is the YouTube comment section. So if you come across that, I don't want you all to freak out like, oh my God, he's turned comments off on all his videos, and it's he can't sit there and he can't do that, because the Linux community will go nuts over that. You can't do that. I know a YouTuber that did that, and it just caused a huge stink. So I'm not doing that, but on a few videos that are generating a lot of spammy content, spammy comments, unfortunately, they're going to go poof. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that YouTube is not the only way that you can talk to me. I have provided for you a community of your own to play in, and several avenues by which you can talk to me. So if I do ever get completely frustrated with the comment section and just make it go away, disable comments on everything, you can still talk to me. You can check me out at EzeeLinux.com. There is a contact page, and you fill out the contact page, you prove that you're not a robot, and that message comes directly to me. Also, you can join the discussion at EzeeTalk. EzeeTalk is a moderated community that you can be a part of, and you can talk to other people in that community. And we have 3 or 4 moderators that go through. We look for spam, we look for problems, we look for all kinds of stuff. We don't allow the kind of garbage that happens in other communities to happen, and we control it. Some people say, well, why aren't you doing Discord? Or why aren't you doing this service or that service? Because we don't control that. That is a service that you have an account on, and to put your community on something like that is kind of crazy. So what we decided to do was to spin up our own. So when you go to that, that's running on our own server that we control from the OS down. It's ours. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, if you are a Facebook user, and I know that some people in the Linux world look at Facebook with, down their noses and go, why are you doing that? Well, a lot of people on Facebook, they learn about Linux through our group and through our page there. So that's the reason why I keep it around, is because you got to go where the people are, gang. I get a lot of that from the Linux enthusiasts out there. They'll say, why don't you start your own, why don't you post on other video streaming services? Why don't you do something on a different service? Because if you want people to find you, you have to go where the people are. The Linux-related content on this YouTube channel is not intended strictly for those who are already into Linux. I feel no need to preach to the choir. So that's why that is done that way. So there's all kinds of ways to contact with me, to interact with the community, interact with me, and that sort of thing. One more thing before the video goes away, because I need to talk about that. People asking for help. Gang, I am happy to help, and I will see if I can find you the information that you're looking for. I mean, I don't know. I've lost count. I mean, during a week, I may get anywhere from 3 to 20 different direct contact messages through one of these ways where somebody is asking for help. And I try and at least point people in the right direction. But time is an issue. Time is an issue with dealing with YouTube. Time is an issue with dealing with the help on the Facebook page and stuff that people send me. So do keep in mind that probably what I'm going to do is find you some documentation and point you in the right direction. That's going to be as far as the extent I can help you with. And that doesn't mean that you can only contact me once. I'm not talking about being like, well, don't be contacting me all the time. However, there is a limit. And I had a situation pop up last month where I had a fellow who just inundated my email box with questions. Like, he wanted me to hold his hand through an entire Linux install. And what he had done was he had a Windows 7 machine, and he blew out Windows 7 and he put Linux Mint on it. He did absolutely no research whatsoever before he did that. So he was really lost. He was a babe in the woods, and I felt really bad about it. But it got to a point where I had to say, at this point, I'm going to have to start charging, because it's getting kind of ridiculous. And I kind of felt bad about that. So I wanted to mention that yeah, I help people all the time, but it's like I can only go so far. And so, therefore, do your research first and just realize that there's a lot going on. You can go into the Easy Linux community here, EzeeTalk, and you can ask for help. There's a ton of people in there that will jump right on it. As a matter of fact, there are pages with the EzeeTalk where you can just ask for help with Linux Mint or Ubuntu or other Linux distributions. Go that route probably first. If you want to send me a direct message, just understand that I'm dealing with a lot of other folks, dealing with a lot of things going on. We're just growing by leaps and bounds. We got almost 70,000 subscribers, more than 2,000 in the last month here on the channel. It's amazing. People find these videos, people looking for solutions. They're moving on from Windows 7, moving on from older things, looking for ways to go, watching the videos, subscribing. That's awesome. I love it. But as we grow, we're going to have to kind of deal with things differently sometimes. That's all I wanted to say. So thank you very much. We will talk again soon.